Hey, Shalom Israel, Shalom Bmore. We're the Isupk. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite camps, Christian churches, Muslim laws. We've been bringing this truth out since 1969, man, that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know, we are the true Jews according to the Bible, but we lost our identity, man. We lost our culture. You feel me? And it's like we've been on a path of destruction ever since. You know, so getting into these classes is the only way that we're going to regain our identity and get our true history and pretty much regain our wisdom and respect in this earth, you understand? So tonight we're going to speak on how we're going to get into how us keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, this is our wisdom that the Lord imparted into us. Once we learn that keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments are vital, are essential to our well-being, to our entire existence, to our livelihood. Once we understand that, we'll realize the wisdom that the Lord was giving us by giving us these laws, statutes, and commandments. These other nations know. These other nations know that this is the wisdom of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. If we continue to, if we begin to do what the Lord has commanded us to do, these other nations, they can't touch us, man. Right. You know what I mean? Like these other nations, not only can they not touch us, they'll be under us. Right. You know, that's the thing that they know in this earth, that we serve a power. We serve a power so great that he'll put us above every other nation on the face of the earth and make them serve us. The same way we're on the bottom of every nation in the earth right now, and we're serving them. So this is important to understand who we are and how special we are to the Lord, and see what we got to do to return to the Lord to regain these promises, man. If I could, we're gonna start in Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
Let's say, behold, I've taught you statutes and judgments. Like the Most High when it says I have taught you statutes and judgments, he's taught our forefathers, our foremothers, these laws, statutes, and commandments. And the way things work is the elders will get the information, like our forefathers and foremothers pass that information on to us through the generations. And the way we know that that's true is because our forefathers and foremothers have passed the wrong things down to us for generations. You see what I'm saying? So like, if we could be taught the wrong thing for generation upon generation upon generation, we can surely be taught the right things. The Most High say, I've taught you laws, these statutes and judgments. Keep going, Brother Bishop.
Even as the Lord my God commanded you, that ye shall do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
But the Most High is saying we're supposed to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and follow these laws. We're supposed to do that no matter where we are in the earth. You know, we hear a lot of people speak on how it's impossible to keep God's law because we're not in the land and everything is attached to the land, and if we ain't in the land, we can't do certain things. According to these scriptures right here, no matter where we go on the earth, we're supposed to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. That means that if you stand with someone, and that person, they don't believe in the Most High, they don't believe in keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, but let's say you got a corner in that house. You got to serve the Lord in that corner. You see what I'm saying? Like they can have a crab feast right outside your room. Shrimp, pork, have the whole 9 yards. But within your space, you follow the Most High. You keep these laws, statutes, and commandments in the space that you have. You understand? It don't matter where we are on the earth. We're expected to keep these law, statutes, and commandments. We're commanded to keep these law, statutes, and commandments from the Most High. Go ahead, brother.
The heavy part about it that's so detrimental to us is the Christian church and faith Israelites.
Come.
Like candy canes, when I pray, you made aware of the truth. Like they exactly what you said, exactly what they do. You can't keep every law because we're not in our land.
Yeah.
Like hands over everything. You can't do it. Like, you know what I mean? Of course, by you being new to it and not knowing about the Isupk Bmore, you'll be victim to that. Just like I would.
Yeah.
Like, that's real nice.
And what that essentially is telling someone who's young in the faith, someone who's new, when we're taught that we can't keep God's law, that gives us license to sin. That gives us an out. That gives us an excuse to when we say, man, I popped this hoe, or I smoked some weed, you know, I did X, Y, and Z. Hey man, we can't keep the law perfect anyway. Like we ain't even in our land, so because we ain't in our land, we can't. Like that's all it do. All it do is give us excuses not to serve the Lord. Here in the Isupk, there is no excuse. Like it's no excuses. You see what I'm saying? Like we this organization is built off integrity. You see what I'm saying? Meaning, no matter what we are, what we're doing, these laws can be kept. We just got you fighting. We got a battle. If you feel yourself getting weak, man, call your brother. You know, get on the phone. Like reach out. And far too often, what happens is we reach out after we've done the wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like, in our mind, we know when we're being attacked. We can feel it in our spirit. In those moments, that's when we're supposed to reach out. A lot of times we follow through with the sin, and then we reach out. I mean, if that happens, still reach out. But we got to get into the mindset of battling and using the brotherhood of the school. Like we don't have to commit the sin and then get help. We can actually get help before we commit the sin. That's the whole point of the brotherhood. You know, and the Lord is telling us, man, keep these law, statutes, commandments. It don't matter where you go in this earth. I don't want you to walk. No matter where you go in this earth, you can't be a homosexual. Go ahead, Officer.
Another heavy thing, understand, really, all right, so if people feel like we shouldn't keep the law because we're in different places, like, people should understand that you can identify who God's children are because the curses, it don't matter where you are.
Good.
The curses will find you. That's how we identify who we are.
Good.
So, you know what I mean? If the curses won't follow us, then why we can't follow the law,
there you go. Right. Like, and that's the whole point, because you got to think, why did we get kicked out of the land? That we got kicked out of the land because we were sinning against the Most High. So we can't get kicked out the land and then go to another land, continue in that sin, and think the Most High is going to bring us back. That's like if you have a child and you punish your child because he's going nuts in the living room. You tell him, listen, go to your room. You don't allow him to take his toys that he had in the living room and just go up into his room and play with his toys. You see what I'm saying? In order for him to get back to these toys in the living room, he's got to go serve that punishment and do what you tell him to do in that room. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what we have to, this is what we, as a nation of people, we got to wrap our minds around it, because we can't, like, we don't blame the people per se. You see what I'm saying? Because we've been led astray. We've been lied to. You know, there's been billions of dollars, you know, that's been spent to keep us in the conditions we're in. You see what I'm saying? These different vices put into our neighborhoods. We understand that. You know, but what's worst of all is these leaders that's been chosen and handpicked by the oppressor. These leaders have been handpicked to deceive us, man. And we've been deceived since we was yay high. Our grandmothers were deceived. Our grandmother was the one who had the Bible on the nightstand. And she was the one telling us, well, you got to go to church, you got to do X, Y, and Z, you know. And she had the white Jesus up on the wall. You see what I'm saying? And we didn't want to disrespect grandma, so a lot of times, even if we didn't go to church, we respected those images that she had. We respected that philosophy that she held on to. You see what I'm saying? And in essence, what we did was, our leaders have taught us to love our oppressor and hate each other. That's what's occurred here. Man, but the Lord is telling us, man, we got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments no matter where we go. Keep going, Brother Kishore.
Verse 6, keep therefore and do them. This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
They say, keep therefore and do them. Do these commandments, man. Like, just don't speak it. Like, we got a lot of, it's a lot of brothers, you know, it's a lot of brothers who understand, like, you know, we're being awoke to the fact that we're Israelites. And, you know, we got a lot of brothers, they like to teach. They like to teach and, you know, try to break scriptures down and stuff like that, you know. And the thing is, it's one thing to know these scriptures and recite them and say them. It's another thing to actually do them. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can't just talk it. We actually got to walk it. We actually got to do these things, man. And that's how we're going to show the Most High that we're serious about what He's telling us. And you know, this is how we plead to the Most High to even give us a second consideration of bringing us back by actually doing these things. You understand? Like, you got a lot of these fake camps out here. They can spit scripture. They got the breakdowns. They call out school and get the breakdowns. You see what I'm saying? Disguise their names and stuff like that, and they call and get the proper breakdowns. But are they doing them? That's the question. The Most High just said, keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom and understanding in the sights of the nations. You know what I'm saying? Like, we think that voting is going to make us look good to everybody. We think that voting and, I mean, we got to have a seat at the table. We got to have a seat at the table, and that's how we're going to get policy change. That's how we're going to get equality. Right then and there, that's how you know that it's not of the Most High. The Most High is not concerned with equality. The Most High is concerned with the nation of Israel keeping these commandments and being on top of these other nations. You understand? Like, the Asians, they didn't have this big old party and gathering and all this voter die hoopla. They didn't have all of this during elections. You see what I'm saying? They don't even vote. But guess what? They get bills passed. They get bills passed. You know what I'm saying? Because they realize something that we don't. The Asian is still segregated against the so-called white man. Understand? He stays within his own community, that Asian dude. That Asian don't go into the political arenas and you know, you'll have some of them who Americanize themselves, but for the most part, as a nation of people, they stay separate. They do business with everybody, but they stay separate. They stay to themselves. And that's how they're so wealthy. They're not wealthy, you know, we think that because of the propaganda, we think that they're so smart and they're so wealthy and they're better than us, you know, because you see them in school and they ace in every math test. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is, what we don't realize is they getting their backs whipped by their parents at home. And they're forced to study 6 to 8 hours when they get home from school. You see what I'm saying? Whereas though if we just did the bare minimum of what we're supposed to do, not even in the school system, just period, we'll outshine all of them. They're not smarter than us. They're not better than us. But the one thing that they do know is that they got to build together before they take their wealth outside of their nation. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what we have to understand. This is our wisdom and our understanding in the sights of these other nations. Like when we start to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, it's going to force us to maneuver a certain way. We're going to act a certain way. We're going to deal with each other a certain way. When it comes to business, we're going to have business and we're going to deal with each other a certain way outside of every other nation. You know, for example, like, you know, what's one of the laws, and I'm paraphrasing, but one of the laws, like, if an animal dies of itself, I can't sell it to my brother, but I can sell it to a heathen. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a law that other nations will see us keeping, and they'll respect us for it. They'll say, man, surely these people right here, they understand something. You understand? Like, and this is what this wisdom and understanding, it's just a small, that's a law right there, but there's so many other laws that if we follow, this is how these other nations are going to view us and how they're going to perceive us. You keep going, Buck, for sure.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
This is what they're going to say, man. Like right now, they're not saying, you know, blacks, Hispanics, and natives are wise and understanding people. They think that we're lambs. They think that we're sheep for the slaughter. We can tell them anything and they're going to buy it. We tell them vote for us, they're going to vote. We tell them march, they're going to march. We tell them kill themselves, they're going to kill themselves. You see what I'm saying? That's how they view us, because we are assimilating ourselves into their culture. Because we're trying to be one with them. When we try to be one with an oppressor, that oppressor realizes that we'll never be equal. I'm gonna give you a few crumbs and stuff like that to keep you satisfied. But don't ever forget that you're my boy. You still my slave. Like, that's how they look at it. But imagine for once if we say, you know what? We ain't trying to be friends with y'all. We're not trying to join y'all. I mean, we're going to keep our laws, statutes, and commandments, and we're going to build with each other. We're not trying to appease this oppressor at this point. Imagine if we did that. That's when they're going to have to look at us and say, what's going on with the blacks? What's going on with these Hispanics? What's going on with these natives? Like, something's changing right now. Like, they're not trying to be one with us. These other nations will understand, and they'll see the wisdom and understanding that we have once we start doing what the Most High has told us to do by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Keep going, Bob, the show.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great and has God so nigh unto them?
For what nation is there so great who have God so nigh, is one of the old Quaker words, which means close. What nation is there so great who have God so close unto them? You understand? Like, they used to call the Most High the terrible. These other nations, because they refer to the Most High himself as the terrible, because they know that he would rain hell and brimstone down for the nation of Israel. You see what I'm saying? They knew you better not touch you better not touch one of them Israelites. They got a God that will murder all of us. Don't not murder but kill. They got a God that will kill us if we touch them. So we got to deal with these people a certain way. You understand? Even though we got more numbers than them, even though we got more weapons than them, we can't mistreat this people because they got a God that serves them and he close to them. Like, imagine you walking with your child and, like, imagine you walking with a child and there's a predator. That predator is going to think twice before he come and try to harm your child because he sees you. And he knows that you're going to rise up against him if he should try to make a move on your child. Now, imagine if your child walked away from you. You tell your child, I want you right here on my hip everywhere I go. I don't want you veering off. You in the store, you looking to get something, and your child veers off and he goes to the next aisle. You get distracted or something like that. What that predator gonna do? That predator gonna get your child, man. You see what I'm saying? That's essentially what's happening to us right now. The Most High is not walking away from us. We walking away from the Most High by not keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. The Most High say, listen, do these commandments, these laws, and you'll have my protection. But we said, nah, well, we want to go over here. We want to see what this is like over here. So we actually started walking away from him. Now these other nations say, man, they free. Man, listen, they game right now. It's like big game hunting now. Let's go get them. Let's go get them before they get back to their farm. You see what I'm saying? This is how they do it. And unfortunately, we brought into their system and their culture, and we think that being with them is our protection. When being with our Father and doing what our Father said is the only protection we have in this earth. You keep going, Brother Bashar.
As the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon for him.
The Most High will be so close to us that everything that we call upon him for, like, he's in all of it. He's so close to us that when he see us getting hurt or harmed, the Most High, like, we can actually call on the Most High, and the Most High, he will be a part of that. Like right now, can the Most High really be a part of it? You know, we ain't got to turn there, but if you go to Proverbs 28:9, you know, it say, he that turneth away an ear, you know, the Lord won't hear his prayers. Like when we want to walk away from hearing these laws, statutes, and commandments, we feel like, man, I ain't got to keep that nonsense no more. The Most High is not even going to hear our prayers somewhere in distress. But when we keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, and we stay close unto him, the Most High will be in everything that we do, man. We can call upon him. And this is something big that we got to get. This is something big we got to understand. Because we call on these sold out black leaders and our oppressor and these politicians. We call out to them for every need that we have. But we don't call out to the Most High. We got to call out to the Most High. Like what child seeks advice from another man outside of his father when his father is there and present? You see what I'm saying? Your father's right there. Your father's right there. Your father raised you. Your father teach you. You know, your father instilled all these, all these morals in you. And yet you go to the man that's teaching the exact opposite of what your father is teaching, and you ask his advice on something. Now, me personally, I look at that as a slap in the face. And I say, like, damn, like, if that's how you want to carry it, you feel me? You go and you get all your advice from him. If that's how you want to carry it. And you know what that predator was saying? Come on over here, he's a little hard. You can't keep everything. You can't make him happy. He's always angry. You see what I'm saying? There's no way you can be perfect in his eyesight. Ain't this what they teach us about the Most High? This is essentially what the Christian church is telling us about the Most High. The God of the Old Testament, he's angry. He's about killing. You can't keep all of them laws. That's why you got to be covered by the blood of Jesus. Understand? Like, this is what they teach. But as a father, man, as a parent, you understand the importance of being obedient, of your children being obedient and following what you say to a T. Because it could be life or death. It could be life or death. So if we can understand that by bringing our kids up, we should understand how serious it is for us to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because it's life or death when it comes to the Most High. You see what I'm saying? Keep going, Brother Bashar.
Verse 8. And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
I said, what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous? This is what the other nations are saying about Israel. This is what the other nations will be saying about blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Man, what nation is that? Like, what kind of people are so great? I mean, they got statutes and judgments and righteous is all the law, which I said, like, this is how they're looking at, this is how they'll be looking at us, because we're going to be righteous according to the Lord. And the laws that we have is going to be laws to build our families and build our nation. You understand? It's going to be laws that's going to preserve the earth. Like right now, the so-called white man is so oppressive. He's killing the earth. He's destroying the ozone layer. He's destroying the sea. He's destroying everything that he needs to live because he's unrighteous. You see what I'm saying? Us being righteous, we won't destroy the damn earth that we need to live. You see what I'm saying? You know, we got laws about tilling the ground. You know, we'll till the ground for 6 years, and on the 7th year, we'll let it rest. We've got the law, the year of Jubilee, in the 50th year, you feel me? You can return you return the property back to its owner, to the original owner, to prevent poverty. You see what I'm saying? Like, we have righteous law, like, you know, when we, you know, when you go and plow your fields, you leave the rest, you leave the rest of it for the less fortunate to glean off of. Like, we actually have laws. These other nations will see us and say, man, like, what nation of people have laws so righteous, man? What nation of people have laws that's going to that's going to pretty much take care of everybody else in this on the earth? You understand? Because these nations, they're going to be under us, and they're going to have to follow these rules. They're going to have to follow these law, statutes, and commandments. They're going to have to. It ain't no, you know, they got their own culture over here, and they do what they want to do. They can go over there and eat red shrimp, crab, lobster, jug, cat. Nah, you won't be eating that in that day. Because if we catch you eating it, it's going to be a different situation in that day. You won't have your own culture and do what you want to do in that day. You see what I'm saying? You're going to follow the rules. You're going to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And guess what? You're going to have to listen to a black man. You're going to have to listen to that Hispanic man. You're going to have to listen to that Native American, I don't even want to say Native American, but you're going to have to listen to that Native man. He's going to give you an order. And whatever goes into your mind, and I say, when I'm right now speaking to the heathen, that nature that's going to rise up and say, man, I ain't got to listen to no Negro. I ain't got to listen to no, you know, all the vulgar names they have for us. Guess what? Whatever thought come in your mind, you better follow that order. And that day, you better follow it. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what the Lord has in store for us, man. Us keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, man, it's going to set us on a whole new playing field. We're not seeking equality, man. We're not seeking to be equal to the oppressor that's been killing and murdering us. If we're equal to him, how can we ever overcome what's happened to us in the past? You see what I'm saying? Like, natural, like, if you think about it, what person who has more power, who's robbed, killed, murdered, stole, raped, pillaged for that power, all of a sudden gives it up? Like, you know how much blood has been shed for them to get this power on earth? Do we think that he's really going to give it up and allow us to be equal to him? We got to think straight, man. It's not going to happen. But what will happen is the Lord will put him in his place, and the Lord will set us above him. And guess what? He's going to have to listen. He's going to have to listen to a brother from Baltimore. He's going to have to listen to a brother from, you know, Detroit, from Chicago, from Philadelphia. I mean, who he think is just a uneducated Negro who may not even have his GED in this world, you feel me? But he's a biblical scholar. You see what I'm saying? He ain't got no credentials in this society, you feel me? But he's worth his weight in gold to the Lord, you understand? A biblical scholar who will wash who wash any of theirs. You're going to have to follow his orders. You see what I'm saying? That day is coming, man. But it's going to be up to us. We got to return to the Most High. But good, drop that. Let me get Amos 3:1. This is the wisdom, man. Like these laws, statutes, and commandments. Like we instead of us looking at a commandment, like when we hear of a commandment or an order, because it's been misused against us for so long, we think of something that's meant to hurt us. As soon as we hear, man, you got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man, I can't do that. I can't follow that, man. Come on, like that. Come on, what do you mean? You mean I gotta stop doing something that's coming natural to me? Like that's how we think. But we gotta wrap our mind around these laws, statutes, and commandments are meant to build us up. These laws, statutes, and commandments, like you got all these different outlets, black outlets out here, and they say, listen, in order for us to regain wealth, we gotta do X, Y, and Z. We gotta put our money here. We gotta invest here. We gotta do boom, boom, boom. No, we gotta keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the true wealth. Like by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, we'll realize economically we'll rise. Sociologically we'll rise. Morally we will. You see what I'm saying? There's no avenue that we won't improve in by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. These laws, statutes, and commandments are not meant to hurt. Not one law in this book is meant to hurt or degrade a black man. You see what I'm saying? Or Hispanic or native. It's only to uplift us and put us in our correct position, man. And that's what we got to wrap our minds around. So when we see something we think is hard to do, instead of saying like the Most High is wrong, we actually got to look at ourselves and say, why do I feel like this is so right for me to be sinning? Why do I feel like this sin is so natural and right to me when the Lord is telling me I shouldn't be doing it? We've actually got to examine ourselves on that level. Yeah, I know the Lord say, the body's the temple, man. We shouldn't be smoking. We shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. We shouldn't be, we shouldn't eat these pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. But I mean, what's the harm in that? If the Bible said we shouldn't do it, and in our mind we feel like there's nothing wrong with it, we should start to check ourselves. Because at that very moment, that's when that demon is on us. That's when that demon is attacking us and saying, you ain't got to follow the Lord, man. And then they say, man, if you feel this way about this law, man, imagine the other laws that you feel that way about. And then you say, you know what, man, I can't keep all these laws, man. So since I can't keep them, I'm just going to do me. I'm a good me. You feel me? Like, I'm going to just do me, man. I don't hurt nobody. You feel me? I'm just stay to myself and do what I do. The next thing you know, full circle, it's a full circle that happens, and we're following the oppressor. We're doing everything this oppressor wants us to do, man. And we stay in the same position. We stay in the same conditions. Nothing improves for us. When we get those thoughts, man, we got to think. There's something about my mindset. There's something about what I'm thinking that's wrong. Why do I feel like this is right when the Bible is saying it's wrong? Man, pick that phone up and call one of the priests of the Lord, man. You'll understand that it's an indoctrination to why you feel that way. Like, we've been indoctrinated to love sin. You see what I'm saying? Like, the things that we do against the Lord, there's been billions of dollars put into that's been used and plotted against us for us to feel that way, and we don't know it. You understand? Like, this goes all the way back to the garden, man. There's never been a time and place in which the nation of Israel, we would never attack spiritually. You see what I'm saying? And physically. So we got to wrap our minds around the fact that these laws, statutes, and commandments is our true wisdom, man. And if we don't align with what those scriptures say, don't question God, but get understanding as to why we're thinking the way we're thinking. And once we start getting that mindset, man, I'm trying to tell you, this is how you battle the demons. You got that scripture?
Amos chapter 3, verse 1.
Come.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying,
It is. The Most High is telling us, like, listen to what I'm about to say to you, O children of Israel. Hey, blacks, Hispanics, and natives, listen to what I got to say to you. You understand? Against the whole family which I brought out of the land of Egypt. Like, the Most High is telling, like, he's being specific right now. He's identifying the specific people that he's talking to. The Most High didn't bring everybody out of Egypt. He brought the Israelites out of Egypt. It's like the point that Officer Alizab made earlier. Like, we're recognized by these curses, man. You see what I'm saying? You got a lot of people who like to claim our identity because of how blessed they are in this earth. They claim, they say, well, look how the Lord has blessed us, you understand? We're so righteous and the Lord has blessed us to have X, Y, and Z. But when it comes to them curses, it don't line up. You understand? Them curses line up perfect with us. You understand? The problem with us is we've been cursed so long that we can't even fathom a blessing according from the Lord. Like, it's so bad that when the Lord say, listen, I'll put you above all nations, we say, man, God racist. How could he say that? How could the Most High say he gonna make us above everybody, man? He gotta be a racist. They call it what you wanna call it, you understand? You call it what you wanna call it. The Most High loves Israel. We're gonna see this in the scripture. Give verse 2 before me, Brother Kishore.
Verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
The Most High said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native, listen, the Most High have only known us. We're the only ones he's made a covenant with. You understand? Like, the Most High did not make a covenant with our enemies. He made a covenant with us. He knows us. The Most High is paying attention to us. He's watching us. You know, every like when them angels are going to and fro in the earth and giving reports, he's giving reports on us. He's watching what we do. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what's going on. Like, this is what the Most High, like, we are the Most High's concern. Just like the kids that come from you is your concern. Not saying you don't care about other kids. Now damn that, you know, you don't care for no other kids like your kid. Like, you teach your kid a certain lesson, you know, you want to see your son or your daughter follow through with what you taught them. You don't expect nobody else to do it because you didn't teach them that. You don't have an agreement with them. The Most High has an agreement with us. He has a contract with us, a covenant with us. And guess what? Because we're locked arm in arm with the Most High, and this covenant is still binding, the Most High only knows us, huh? Of all the families of the earth. Keep going.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
It is. That's why blacks, Hispanics, and Natives, this is why we receive the punishment that we do. We receive the punishment that we receive from sinning against the Most High, because the Most High is giving his law to us. We just read in Deuteronomy where the Lord say, I'll give you I set before you my law, statutes, and commandments. He's only giving it to us. So because he's trained us, because he's taught us, he expects us and he holds us in a high regard. So when we break his law, statutes, and commandments, he punishes us for them. These other nations out here, they can do whatever the hell they want to do. Guess what? It'll seem like they're flourishing. You know, and this is why we take on their culture, because we see them prospering in all their wickedness. We see them being the biggest drug dealers, so we become drug dealers. That's not our culture. We think that gang banging and being a part of a gang and being a gangster is our culture. That's not our culture. The so-called white man and them Asians are the biggest gangsters on the face of this earth. The biggest gang members on the face of this earth. No one looks at the so-called white man and think he's a gang member. He is a gang member. You see what I'm saying? They put little they put little titles on it. They call it the mafia. They call it Republican. They call it Democrat. You see what I'm saying? But they are gangbangers. And guess what? We take on their culture, man. You ever think why you got red and blue for Crips and Bloods? Because we're doing nothing but copying the culture of of our oppressors. The Democrats and Republicans, what are their colors? Red and blue. You see what I'm saying? We only following the culture of our oppressor. We not those people. We not gangsters, man. We not drug dealers. We are children of the Lord, man. And because we're children of the Lord will punish us for disobeying him, man. And this is why in every major black city you have 400 to 500 murders in a good year, according to how things go, of blacks getting murdered, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what happens in our communities, man. If I could drop that, let me get hold on 1 second. Get 1 Peter 2:9. Most High has plans for us. The Most High has, he's made promises to us, man. And it's up to us to go and grab it. We gotta go and grab these things. We gotta go and grab these promises that the Most High has given us. We gotta go and grab it as if our life depends on it, because it does. And the way we do that, man, is by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments and coming out of this culture that we're in right now. You got that?
Yeah. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. For ye are a chosen generation, a royal bloodline, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people.
He say, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. Listen, every black, Hispanic, and Native man, listen, you could be a potential priest, man. You understand? Like, a royal priesthood, meaning we come from the same bloodline, from the same family as Christ or Yahushua himself, you understand? Like the same bloodline from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like, this is the bloodline we come from, man. A royal priesthood, man. And say a holy nation. We are a separate nation, man. We're separate. We're not like any other nation on the face of this earth. And guess what? We didn't need the Bible. I ain't gonna say we didn't need the Bible, but we knew this before we heard this in Scripture. We never knew what holy meant before we got into the Isupk. We thought holy was something mystical. You see what I'm saying? Like something like, some kind of magic dust or something sprinkled on you or something like that. That's what we thought holy was, but they used to sell the holy water on TV. And you drink that and some kind of miracle gonna happen to you, You're going to get rid of all your cancer. You're going to get a $10,000 check within the next 30 days. Like, that's how we looked at holy before coming into the Isupk. Holy means we're separate, man. We are a separate people. Most High saying you're a separate nation, a peculiar people. We are peculiar to this world, man. We are peculiar. Like, there's no people on the face of the earth like blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You understand? Like, the way we get down, the way we see things, the way we view things, our culture is so different from every other culture on the face of this earth. Like, have you ever been on a slavery and worked around an oppressor or worked around another nation of people? And by you working in close contact with them, you get to gauge their personalities, you get to gauge how they think, how they solve problems on the job. And you're like, what the hell? You're like, yo, why would you do that? You're like, yo, you didn't see that coming down? Like some of the things that they do, you be sitting there like, and these are the people over us? It's them like that's how we be, like, for real. Like, you see the leaders of this earth, President Joe Biden, you look at him and you say, like, damn, this is the man over us. Like, listen, you put a brother from UPK and put Joe Biden on a foreign land. We will smoke him and everything. You see what I'm saying? We will smoke him and everything. We are peculiar people, man. That spirit is alive and well in us. We got instinct. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can gauge things, you feel me? Like, we don't need certain things. Like, we used to always say, growing up, when you see a movie, a scary movie, you know, the white person, the so-called white man always falls when he's running. That's because he went to investigate. He went to see what was going on. And it got too late for him, you see what I'm saying? We don't need that. We got up out of there when we sensed that danger, you feel me? We didn't have to run towards the danger to realize it was danger. Something in us was like, something ain't right. And we got up out of there, you feel me? Like, we look at those things and just say, like, yo, black people, we got this intuition about us. No, we're peculiar people, man. Like, the Spirit of God is alive and well in a lot of us, you feel me? But what happens is that spirit gets quenched. That spirit gets quenched in us when we start listening to these oppressors and we start listening to our black leaders who've been conquered by these oppressors, man. We stop trusting in the Lord, man. We stop trusting in the things of the Most High, and we start trusting in the things of man. You understand? The Most High said we're peculiar people. Keep going up the show.
That ye should shoot forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into this marvelous light.
They say we should show forth the praises of him who have called us out of the darkness into this marvelous light, man. That's what the Lord is doing right now. The Lord is calling us out of a darkness, man. And he's bringing us into this marvelous light. What is this marvelous light? That's the truth, man. That's these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, when you used to living a wicked life, you understand, and then you finally clean your life up, man, you actually look back and say, like, dang, like, look how far I've come. I used to do this without thinking twice about it. And then you couldn't pay me to do it. A lot of us, in the conditions we grew up in, gang banging or selling drugs, you feel me, was like, we're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, it's like going to it's like being in second grade and going to third grade. It's gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? It's just natural. We feel like we should do it. We feel like we should get locked up and do a bit. And when we got jail stories to talk about and sit around and talk about how real we is. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is how we grew up. Then you come in the truth and realize, man, I don't gotta do none of that. I can actually be creative. I can serve the Lord and be creative and find a way to get out of this hell that we're in, you feel me? Like, this is what the Most High is saying. I'm gonna bring you out of that darkness that we're in, to where as though by the age of 20, you feel like, you know, you're OG. In 20 years, like, yeah, 20 years, they OGs, because in our communities, 21, if you live at 25, like, you're old head. You see what I'm saying? Like, they consider you old head. I mean, 13 and 14 years old out here putting that work in them streets, you feel me? Like, catching bodies. They starting them early. So by the time you turn 25, you got 13, 14 years in a street life. So now you're an OG. That's darkness, man. You come into this light and become a trooper, then become an officer, then a captain. You see what I'm saying? That's a marvelous light to be in. You see what I'm saying? This is what the Most High is going to do for us, man. This is why it's so important to come back to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Keep going, Brother Bishop.
Verse 10, which in the past were not a people, but are now the people of God.
Which in times past were not a people, but now are the people of God. You understand? Like, the Most High had to do away with us for a while, man. The Most High had to do away with us. You Understand? We sinned against him. We broke all his rules. We broke all his laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? He scattered us abroad, man. But guess what? Then he sent the priests and prophets out here to gather his sheep together. And say, but now are the people of God. This is what the Most High expects us to become, the children of God, man. If people will realize, man, we gotta keep these laws, statutes, and commandments the same way we've served this devil, this oppressor in his kingdom, is the same way we gotta serve the Lord with that same, but more vigor than that. You see what I'm saying? Keep going.
Which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
And it's a lot of us who have not obtained mercy, you know. But guess what? But now we're going to obtain this mercy by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what the Most High has in store for us, man. This is real love. You know what I'm saying? Like, what we reading is real love that the Most High is showing blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? Like, you get a lot of people who say, I love God. I love God. You know, God is in my heart. You understand? But the thing is, we don't define how we love God. The Lord has to define that. You understand? Like, the Lord has to tell us how to serve Him, how we should be. You understand? But good, let's find out what love is according to the scripture. Let's go to 1 John 5:3.
This is 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God.
For this is the love of God right here. The Most High is ready to tell us how it is He wants us to love Him. When we say we love God, the Most High is going to give us the instruction on how to actually love Him. Go ahead.
That we keep His commandments.
That we keep His what?
Commandments.
That we keep His commandments. Is this the Old Testament?
Nah.
This is New Testament right here. Like this is the New Testament, Christians. You see what I'm saying? Pastor? This is the New Testament right here. The Lord is saying this is the love of God, to keep His commandments, man. That's how we show the Most High that we love Him. It ain't by going out here and just talking it. It ain't by going out here and thinking we're a good person because we ain't killed nobody. You know what I mean? We actually got to do something, man. We got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how we show the Lord that we actually love Him, man. Drop that. Let me get Ephesians 5 and 6, brother Bishop. We're going to get these in the scripture, man. We're going to see, like, it's important for us to do these, to follow and be obedient to these words, man, because without it, we are lost people, like the scripture just called us, man. We are lost people, man. We aren't even considered a people because we're so scattered. You know, right now, you have children of the Most High, you know, children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, children of the Lord, you feel me, who identify as Gentiles. You see what I'm saying? I'm a Gentile, and give every promise, every covenant that our forefathers made, give it over to the so-called Jewish man, that devil. You see what I'm saying? Why do we think that we have to be beneath them? It's because we've been taught it our entire lives. For a black man to call himself a Gentile and call the oppressor the real Jew, like it's heavy on so many different levels. You see what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine how the Most High views that? Can you imagine how the Most High view us calling ourselves a heathen, not His people, and calling the actual heathen His people? like imagine, like I always like bringing it back to your kids because like you can feel, like you feel that more. You see what I'm saying? You imagine your son saying, you know, whatever your last name, say your last name's Smith. I ain't no Smith. Nah, I ain't no Smith. I'm a Washington. You're like, what? You're my son. Nah, I ain't your son. I mean, I don't gotta do what you tell me to do, man. I ain't your son. You like, what? And you looking at him like, you look at him, but you gotta realize how destroyed he has to be. Because he ain't saying it trying to be hard. He's saying it and really believing it. You know what I mean? Imagine how the Most High looks at us when we see the same thing, man. We Gentiles. Not Gentiles in the sense of Israelites who are not keeping the law. We think that we're bloodline, Gentiles is not a bloodline, but Gentiles is pretty much anything that's a nation, any nation of people that's not Israel. That's how we look at ourselves. When we read, when a lot of us read about these scriptures, and we say the Israelites are the chosen people of God, we never think about the black, Hispanic, or Native American man. We never think of each other. We think about that Jewish man up in Park Heights. We think about that Jewish man over in Israel. You understand? That's the first thing that comes to our mind. That's by design. You see what I'm saying? We got to come out of that, though. You got that scripture for me? You read that book for sure?
It's Ephesians chapter 5, verse 6. Let no man deceive you with vain words.
Let no man deceive you with vain words. Vain meaning empty. Let no man deceive us with empty words. You know what I'm saying? All that, and all that nonsense, you see what I'm saying? All that prosperity preaching and stuff. It's vanity, man. It's vain. It amounts to nothing. You feel me? Let no man deceive us with that. Keep going.
For because of these things coming the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience.
And this is so important, man. They say because these things, because of these things, because we're deceived, because we're lied to, you understand, with vain words, we hold on to the vain words. We take it to heart, the vain words, you understand? And because of that, cometh the wrath of God, man. Them words that say we ain't got to keep these laws, statutes, commandments is done away with. We hold on to that. You know how we know we hold on to it? You can ask anybody on the street, hey, is the law of God, is it still binding? No, Jesus died. When Jesus died, all the laws are done away with. For that reason, man, it's cometh the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience. When we're taught that we ain't got to keep no rules, no laws, statutes, and commandments, man, we go off. We go off and we have an excuse for every sin that we commit in this earth, man. We got an excuse for everything because in our mind, all we got to do is believe in Jesus. But we can sin and do whatever the hell we want to do after that. But we don't realize, but because we're doing that, the wrath of God is coming upon us, man. And that's what you see. That's what you see in the midst of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. The wrath of God coming down on us, man, because we've been taught to be disobedient children, man. This is not what the Most High wants from us. This is not what the Most High. This is not what Christ died on that cross for, man. This is not what He died for us to be disobedient and feel like we ain't got to follow no law, statutes, and commandments, man. Christ died so we can actually say, you know what? He died to give us an avenue back to the Most High. So by Him doing that, man, we're going to keep these law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? Because He died for us, we're going to live for Him. That's got to be our attitude. When Christ was here, Christ kept the law, statutes, and commandments. So if we're covered under His blood, we would think that we want to do exactly what He was doing in this earth, right?
Right.
But we've been deceived by vain words, man. And because we've been deceived by vain words, the wrath of God comes down on us, and the Most High call us children of disobedience, man. Listen, these laws, statutes, and commandments is our wisdom and understanding in the sights of these other nations. These laws, statutes, and commandments are is the one and only thing that's going to really save and pretty much like free black people from this oppression that we're in. They say the truth shall set us free. The truth shall set us free from the bondage, you know, from that mental and spiritual bondage that we're in this culture, in this society. You understand? We've got to become servants of the Most High. And we got to do what He's telling us to do. Once we do that, man, the Most High will take vengeance on these other nations. He will become an enemy to our enemies, and the Most High will show His true power in this earth. You understand? They already know because their records have been passed down. That's why I say they call them the terrible. We don't understand, but our oppressor has a vendetta against the Most High. He has a vendetta against him. That's why he wants to fight him. That's why he has a space force up there. Because he has a vendetta and he wants to fight against the Most High. He's going to get annihilated, but nevertheless, let's make that day in haste, you understand? Like, let's do what we got to do so our Father can put us back in the position we're supposed to be in, man. And with that, you understand, we're the Isupk, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming straight out of 1 West 125th Street under Commanding General Yohana, you understand? And at this time, we want to call a priest in office of 1,000 Al-Azhar who will read the security announcement. Shalom, Israel. Shalom, Bmore.
Security announcements. We got the Isupk out 1 West 125th Street under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Type, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means 10th in the Hebrew and it's pronounced Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. A memorial blowing of the trumpet is September the 6th. Remind Akim and Aquafium to check on social media such as Isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for Isupk events. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he has to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. We will give one courage to lead to the teacher, Min Israel, Amayim, Mana Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
With that, it's like Yakutai. With that, class dismissed.